In this video, I'm going to show you how I make $30K per month with this little book right here and without relying on Amazon KDP. We're going to break down the 3-part framework that you need to incorporate in order to make great money with your book without having to rely on the algorithm. I'm going to show you how to package and position your book, which is the first pillar, how to build a premium high-ticket offer that lives behind your book, pillar number 2, and 3, how to build a highly optimized sales funnel to sell your book. Now, the reason why this matters is because there are so many authors and experts out there that pour their heart and souls into their books, and then they chuck it on Amazon, cross their fingers, and it basically makes no difference in their life or business whatsoever. And then they get all down and dejected and they say it doesn't work and they don't write any more books and they don't go out and try to market their book. And a lot of their books really have content that could change lives, change the world. It sucks for these people. And what they have not been told, if that's you, is that there is a better way. There is a new way to use books to grow your business, to get customers and clients, to make more than enough money to pay your bills. But you will not be able to pull this off unless you pull in the best, most effective techniques for online marketing, for digital marketing, and combine them with your desire to use a book to grow your brand and get clients. And that is what we are going to cover in today's video, because it is very unlikely that the Amazon algorithm is just going to love you and show your book to everyone, and it's just going to take off. You hear stories about that happening, but I'll be honest, it's never happened to me. I wish it would, right? I mean, I would take it, but it's not a reliable strategy for you to succeed. If you do not have a huge audience that you can push to your Amazon listing and or a publishing deal where you have the power that the major publishing houses bring to bring eyeballs to your book, then you're basically screwed. And you putting your book on Amazon only is a crapshoot. I mean, it's very unlikely to work. For some reason, there's so many book gurus that teach people how to publish a book, put it on Amazon, and these people pay like $10, $15, up to $50,000, to get their book on there, and it basically does nothing for their business. So I'm going to show you a better way. I'm going to show you the way to take back control, to take this game into your own hands, to take your book and make it work, to force it to work, to grab it by the horns and essentially guarantee that you're going to get a lot of ROI out of the time that you spent writing your book. Because when you write a book, the whole goal is for this thing to become like a miniature salesperson. I want to be asleep and then have somebody, who's reading my book. And by the time I wake up, they've sent me a message that was like, your book was awesome. How do I hire you to work with me one-on-one to help implement what was in your book, right? And so the book warmed them up, built trust in me, and asked them to take the next step. We want our books out there doing that for us. For most people, it does not work that way, and it makes me sad because they're only usually a few tweaks away from making this happen. So without further ado, let's get into how this actually works. Pillar number 1 is a book that displays your unique set of expertise. My backstory is flipping houses, buying rentals. I built a 7-figure house flipping business and purchased a few dozen rentals. I achieved financial freedom through real estate. Then I wanted to get into coaching. I needed to figure out how to get clients. And I decided to write my first book, this little book here called Fire Yourself, which is about how to hire an acquisition manager to grow a house flipping business. Acquisition manager is a fancy word for sales rep. So I write this book just because it was the thing that I was good at. I was good at hiring a sales team and getting them to find me a lot of houses to flip and rentals to buy. That took our real estate business to doing over $1 million per year. Then I was invited to, speak about this at mastermind events and stuff like that. So when I get in the coaching space, I'm like, what am I good at? And it was this particular skill. And so I wrote a book on this one topic. Little did I know that decision would be critical to me actually getting clients, because when this book went live, I did struggle to sell it at first, but then ultimately I was able to land a few interviews on some real estate podcasts, and people heard those interviews. They go buy my book. in my book funnel, which we'll talk about later. And then they reached out to me and said, I loved Fire Yourself. Do you have a coaching program? And then I would enroll clients for $3,000 a month or something like that and work with them one-on-one. And that took me from basically not making any money when I first started as a coach for like 5 months to making almost 100,000 in the next, 7 months. So I almost cracked 6 figures my first year as a coach. And most of it came from people who read this book. Now, why did this work? Well, of course, I had the credibility to write the book, which you must have, but it was because this book was so niche, right? There is literally, to this day, not another book on how to hire sales reps to grow a real estate investing business. The very first pillar that is required to be successful with a book, it must solve a problem for a specific person, a very tangible, specific outcome, and it's got to be different somehow. It can't just look like every other book. You can't just write a book about leadership or business growth and just leave it at that. Like, you have to try harder. You have to work on the packaging more. You have to say, well, business growth for who? Could it be business growth for financial advisors? Could it be business growth for a architect? What's my background and what audience am I most suited to help? A lot of times niching down can come down to just figuring out the client that you are best suited to serve. Another way to do it is by creating what's called a unique mechanism. So maybe your method of growing a business is like 5 steps, and you could create an acronym to represent that and call it the SCALE method, where all the letters SCALE stand for something different. And then you put that on the cover. So it's like how to grow your business using the SCALE method. That one step is far more powerful than just about anything else you could do, because you have to get people to read your book, right? It's like people make a decision at a glance. You cannot write a generic book and then go out and market it. Imagine that. It'd be like starting a restaurant and having like really average food and then busting your ass to go out and market your restaurant and try to get more people there. And then your advertising doesn't work that well because your ad just says, come get some of our soup and bread and sandwiches, right? It's just like, why should I care? You should instead think about creating a Mexican Indian fusion restaurant, or if it's a coffee shop, it should specialize in single origin Ethiopians or something like that, right? Like, you got to niche down. It's way too crowded. So that is the first pillar. And when you get that right, you will be able to make a lot more money from your book. Now, you might be asking, well, how do I make money with my book, even though it's niched down and it's going to stand out? That's a great question. That leads us to pillar number 2, which is you must have a premium high-ticket offer to sell behind your book. Now, anyone who has been in this expert coaching, whatever space for any amount of time knows that you've got to sell something that costs a lot of money if you want to make a lot of money. Unless you have millions and millions of followers and you can just sell the crap out of a bunch of $10 books, you're not going to make a bunch of money unless you sell something premium. That is how all the people that you probably already follow make most of their money. In fact, even the big companies that teach people how to self-publish books, they sell a book on it, but then their offer is $10 or $15 or $20 or $50,000, where you pay them for a lot of hands-on help to self-publish a book. Where do you think most of their money comes from, right? It's always that high-ticket back-end offer. So when I published my first book, Fire Yourself, I actually didn't know this. You remember this book's about hiring sales reps to grow a real estate investing company. I get on the call and I'd be like, yeah, what do you want coaching with? I bought rental properties. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at systemizing businesses. I confuse the hell out of people. And I bombed lots of sales calls and I missed lots of opportunities because I kind of had an idea of what my high ticket offer was, but it was just sort of like coaching, like whatever you need coaching. That's a big mistake. When people read your book, they want help implementing what is in your book. As Russell Brunson said, they'll pay more money for the same framework delivered differently. You deliver the framework in your book via a book. That's one way where someone's just doing it themselves through reading the pages. Another way to deliver your framework is one-on-one coaching, high touch, right? Like you're on calls with them. When I work with clients, we don't just get on calls and spit theory either. We actually write their book live on the calls, like build their book funnel. Like we just actually do work. So whatever problem you solve in your book, you got to have a very premium, high touch coaching, consulting, done for you, done with you kind of offer that lives behind the book, and sell it for $3,000, $10,000, whatever that's going to be, relative to the value of the outcome. But this is where the real money is made from books. For those of us who are not getting major publishing deals, we don't have major personal brands to just drive traffic and sell books and courses. It's a big mistake to try and do that when you have a small audience and when you aren't really established yet. And so you have to really optimize the crap out of this. That's honestly the theme for the whole thing we're talking about here. We're optimizing the hell out of the whole customer journey. So they see the book, they're like, ooh, that solves a very specific problem for me. I see how it's different. I got to get this book or nothing else because there's nothing really out there exactly like it. And then you have a way for them to pay you lots of money if they want hands-on help, which, 3% of people in my experience do. The rest of them don't, right? Not everybody has that much money. That's fine. Let them read the book and do it on their own. But you got to have this premium offer for sale for the people who want that, for the people who have more money than they have time. And speaking of optimizing the crap out of this entire process, let's move on to pillar number 3, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important, and it's kind of my personal favorite. Pillar number 3 is a highly optimized sales funnel. So here's my book on Amazon. And the problem with selling this on Amazon is that every time I sell one, I make $6, which is not a lot of money. But the bigger problem is that I do not get the customer's contact information. I can't follow up with them. I basically have no idea who bought my book. Yes, I have all the proper calls to action in my book, like a really irresistible lead magnet inside of my book. That's important because you want to lift readers that buy your book on Amazon out of the book and into your email list so that you can follow up with them better. But it's inefficient. A much better way to do it is by building your own book funnel and pointing all of the eyeballs that you can muster towards your book funnel. And if you look at how Russell Brunson does it, like the guy who is the leading expert in how to have an expert business, all of his traffic goes to his book funnel. In fact, here's his funnel for expert secrets right now. And if you look at his YouTube videos or his websites or whatever, they're all going to point you right to these funnels. And why would he do that? It's because he's a master of digital and online marketing. He knows that it is much more optimal for him to sell the book to you directly versus putting it on Amazon. Now, you see, if you navigate away from his funnel, like if you click back, there's a pop-up that says, hey, wait, you can get the book on Amazon, but you won't get the bonuses found on this page. And you click here and it takes you to the Amazon listing. This is important because some people prefer to buy books only on Amazon. You don't want to miss out on those people, but you want to ideally get them to buy it from your book funnel. Here's my book funnel for Get Clients With a Book. This is where I point people. If I post on LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever, I say, hey, go grab my book at getclientswithabook.com. You'll get the book, you'll get it in audio, you'll get the writing template, you'll get a couple of other cool bonuses for getting it here. It's $7, whereas it's $15 on Amazon, and you do not get a lot of the bonuses that you get here. Now, my goal for selling it this way is because I want to get people's contact information. I want to actually be able to offer them other stuff. Like you can add order bumps and upsells. Like if you look here on Russell's funnel, once you enter your information in, then it gives you the option to add something for $37, something for $97. And when I first launched this book, Fire Yourself, I built a book funnel way back in like 2017. And I remember getting Stripe notifications on my phone that was like, you made a sale for $37, for $97. And I was like, oh my gosh, like Sometimes someone would go through my book funnel, and between buying the book and the different upsells, I would make over $100 per customer. And it's all digital assets that are being delivered to them. I didn't even ship them a physical copy. And so you compare that with just selling something on Amazon where the maximum amount of money you can make is $6. It's night and day. And if you're trying to get a ROAS, return on ad spend, and you're putting money in Facebook or YouTube or Google ads up front, and you need to at least liquidate the cost of acquiring a customer, a book funnel is the way to do that. You wouldn't run ads like on YouTube and point them to Amazon because you would certainly lose a lot of money. And this is what Russell Brunson discovered and why he likes book funnels so much, is because with the upsells and the order bumps and all that, you can often break even or be a little bit profitable when you sell a book and then you acquire a customer that you can follow up with. So if you were to go buy my book at getclientswithabook.com, which I recommend because it reveals my entire system for doing what we're talking about in this video, here's what will happen to you. You'll go to this page, you'll enter your email, you'll go to a checkout page to pay, and then you will end up on this page, which is a VSL, a video sales letter. This is really important to know about. If you want to make money in the expert space, you have to have a VSL. It's just a little 10 to 20 minute video that calls out who you help, the problem you solve, the benefits of working with you, and gives a little pitch about your offer, and then has a button to book a call. This is like the final step before the finish line of making money. So no matter what else you do, like you could have lead magnets, books, free giveaways, things like that. But then you got to say, hey, for those of you who've been following me, you want some help. Here's how it all works. You want someone to watch your VSL before you talk to them, because they may watch it and be like, this is not for me. This is not what I want. And then they won't book the call. That is good. Or if they do watch it and book the call, they're going to show up saying, hey, I watched your video. I have a pretty good idea of how your offer works. I just have a few questions. That's so much better than someone showing up cold and having no idea what they're there for. You don't want to try to explain the whole thing on a call. So you need a VSL. The cool thing is with a book funnel, you put this on the thank you page. And so everyone sees it. And some people are so hot and ready, they don't even need to read your book. They just want to go ahead and see what the high ticket version of your offer is, because maybe they just want to pay and get the result sooner and get it easier. But let's say you go through my funnel and you do not book a call on the thank you page, which is most people, then you're going to get a series of about 6 or 7 emails where I'm going to tell some valuable stories and add a lot more value to you, help you publish a book, use it to get more customers. And what do you think those emails are going to do? They're going to push you back to this VSL page where I'm like, hey, are you ready now? Would you like to see about working with me now? And then inside of the online course portal where you'll get the book and all the other bonuses delivered to you, there's going to be little modules at the bottom there that's like, hey, click here to learn about working with me one-on-one. Then you go on the master email broadcast list where you just get consistent emails that add value. And every now and then they will mention this offer, and maybe I'll get you to subscribe on YouTube or follow on LinkedIn, because the game these days, if we want to zoom way out, it's not about funneling people anymore. It's about creating an environment that builds trust. Like, you're not going to buy something from me or anyone else until you're sure that I can help you. There's something called the 7-11-4 rule that Google discovered, and this is how people make buying decisions. They need to spend 7 hours with someone across 11 touch points and 4 different mediums, so email, podcast, YouTube, those are different mediums. And so you have to create an environment for this to happen. So you build the book funnel and you build the automations that are there to capture someone while they're hot, while they're having the pain, right? You sell the book, you deliver it, you deliver all the emails, more value, you ask them to take the next step. But then if they don't, you put them into your ecosystem that builds trust and then slowly nurtures them back along to potentially buying your offer. I want you to imagine you have all this built, okay? So you have a book that properly positions you as the expert on your thing. And then you have something premium to sell behind the book that's really well crafted and it's like a no-brainer. You also have a very highly optimized sales funnel in order to give someone the book, to follow up with them, point them back to your offer, to point them back to the other places where they can continue to connect with you, consume more content, whatever, then your life gets easy. You know, you can just go to the front end and generate attention, because that's ultimately the big name of the game, right? Get on some podcasts and talk about your book. Create YouTube videos where you talk about your book, just like I'm doing in this video. Go on LinkedIn, whatever it is, right? Run some ads and point them to your book funnel and work on optimizing the numbers and the KPIs behind that. The beauty is when you build this, it really works for you. And this is the real way to make money with books, to bring in the strategies that someone like Russell Brunson uses, who makes, $100 million plus a year, but then also be an author. And you get to spend your time writing books and doing what you love to do, but you're not just turning a blind eye to what actually works in the world of digital marketing. And one final caveat is that I do recommend putting your book on Amazon because, for one, there's certain people who are just comfortable buying books on Amazon. You're going to make more sales than you otherwise would. And two, it gives you more credibility and authority when you have your book on Amazon. You are a published author on Amazon, even if it's self-published, right? And people see that and they put you on a pedestal. It's also not that much extra work to get a book on Amazon when it's done. Once you've done it a few times, it's not that intimidating. I've done it so many times at this point for myself and my clients. You might as well do it. My point is that it should not be your primary strategy. Again, you can get my entire process for doing this. You can even steal the exact template that I have created so that you can build a book funnel. Just copy paste this right into your account when you get my book and bonuses at getclientswithabook.com. And thanks for watching.